going to lie, I sat down to watch football last night and was thinking, this is a really nice AFC North matchup. Ravens versus Bengals, and having the bye week and having these guys go on a Thursday night, it was a rare chance for me to sit down and really watch both of them without having the additional burden of, working or having to focus in particular on the Steelers. And I am here to tell you that I came away robustly unimpressed with both of them. Good morning to you. Good Friday morning. I'm Dejan Kovacevic of DK Pittsburgh Sports. This is Daily Shot of Steelers. Comes your way bright and early every weekday. If you're into hockey and or baseball, I also offer daily shots of the other two teams in town that I cover, the Penguins and the Pirates. Ravens 35, Bengals 34. In the first half, I was convinced that neither of these teams could do anything offensively. That, of course, is not accurate, not even for a minute. In the second half, I was really convinced that neither of them can defend, especially in the secondary. So it turns out both of them need to have the offenses that they do. And when I look at the Ravens, I see Lamar Jackson. I see what it is that he brings against every team other than Pittsburgh. I see Mark Andrews. I'm actually a real admirer of what kind of player he is. I see that Derrick Henry is still churning. I see the way Zay Flowers can make people miss. I don't see anything on that defense. I don't even recognize who those guys are. And I don't just say that because of the weird alternate logo that looked like some charbroiled chicken's head or something. I just didn't get that Baltimore vibe about these guys. I really didn't. And I don't know how you seal that up. I don't know how you make that work. I know that John Harbaugh's had situations like that in the past on one side of the ball or the other, and gradually he does make improvements. His teams do usually get better over the course of a schedule, but it's a long way up from number 32 in the rankings, my friends, and you could see all night long why they have that ranking. Meaning specifically the pass defense. The Bengals, obviously, they've got Joe Burrow throwing for 4 touchdowns the way Lamar did. They've got, oh my goodness, Jamar Chase. What a football player. Like anybody who thought that he was in any way, shape, or form, assisted even to the slightest degree by having T. Higgins and Tyler Boyd and those guys there, this is just a mega star. Because even against this secondary, this Baltimore secondary, what he did, 11 catches, 264 yards, and 3 touchdowns. That's insane. That's AB stuff. That's peak Antonio Brown. But there isn't much in the way of a running game, and your only other real threat is Mike Gesicki, who's been good for them as tight end out of Penn State. And then here, too, on defense, no. And I got to tell you, I was actually more comfortable watching the first half because it at least looked like AFC North ball, because of the score and everything else. These aren't AFC North type teams at all. And I know they're still going to be physical and angry and punch you in the mouth and all that other stuff, but those don't look like AFC North teams, just as the Steelers, to lay this all on the table, didn't look like an AFC North team. For example, late in Ben Roethlisberger's tenure, or for that matter, when they went to play Tom Brady up in Foxborough in the AFC Championship game, it happens to everybody, but be very sure it's happening in both Baltimore and Cleveland at the same time. As such, and this is where I bring things back to the present, the Steelers' only obvious and glaring issue being faced is beating the Commanders in Landover on Sunday. The Commanders are 7-2. They've got a rookie quarterback. There's all kinds of things about that team that makes that team look beatable, notably that they have the 4th worst rushing defense in the NFL, giving up 143 yards per game, and they haven't faced a rushing attack like this all year, meaning like Najee Harris and a healthy Jaylen Warren. but it'll still be one significant stride forward if the Steelers can do this. And let's not forget that it would be on the road with at least a little bit of bye week rust to shake off. But after that, all of the AFC North games show up. There will be 8 games remaining, and 6 of them will be inside this division. The first of those being against the Ravens here in Pittsburgh. And no, I'm not about to make a prediction. I don't do that. But I do feel plenty comfortable setting my own expectation for this team, meaning a standard to which I believe, just me, that they're capable of and arguably should perform up to a certain bar. For me, that bar is winning the AFC North. I could not be given a reason outside of some unfathomable wave of major injuries that the Steelers shouldn't finish above Baltimore, Cincinnati, and of course Cleveland. And no, that's not the end goal. This is a franchise that hasn't won a playoff game in forever. But if you do make it to that bar, you're going to finish in first place, and you're going to get a better seeding than what you've been getting in recent years. And maybe most important, because 6 out of the 8 games are against these teams, you could be getting a really good seeding and more confidence and more momentum. Now, I swear I'm not going to take this any further. It's all about Washington now, just like I'm sure it's been for the Steelers all week long. When we come back, J1Q. Luxembourg, Garbett, Kelly & George is a personal injury law firm in Western Pennsylvania that represents injured people in automobile accidents, workers' compensation cases, and medical malpractice claims. The attorneys at Luxembourg, Garbett, Kelly & George pride themselves in doing what they say they're going to do. It's important to them that when they make you a promise, they keep that promise. And this law firm has been keeping promises for over 80 years. Luxembourg, Garbett, Kelly & George has been AV rated. That's the highest rating a law firm can receive for legal ability and ethics. And the lawyers at the firm have been designated super lawyers, that's a real thing, for over 15 years. Rare combination there. Luxembourg, Garbett, Kelly & George has offices in Cranberry, Newcastle, Beaver Falls, Butler, and Elwood City. Learn more about them at lgkg.com or by calling 888-842-5454. Again, that's 888-842-5454. Today's J1Q comes from Danny, who says, "Hey DK, Steelers have been known as Blitzburg for many years, a defense that really thrived on bringing pressure. With the talent that they have currently up front, they're still getting that pressure, but it seems like Mike Tomlin has dialed back the aggressive blitzing. Why do you think that is? I mean, if a disguised blitz is tough for a quarterback like Peyton Manning to read, wouldn't it be even more challenging for a rookie like Jaden Daniels?" I have a couple of things to bring up before answering on this front, Danny. First off, you say Mike Tomlin has dialed back the blitzing. I'm beginning to get a little cringy when Tomlin is spoken of as the defensive coordinator or even the de facto coordinator. Yes, he has been that in the past. He's acknowledged it. He was even influential whenever Dick LeBeau was still the coordinator, the great Dick LeBeau. Tomlin started to get more and more involved in that aspect and call more and more shots. And of course, it was during LeBeau's time that the Blitzburg thing and all of the blitzing, the zone blitzing in particular, became prevalent here. This lack of blitzing, yes, of course, Tomlin is on the same page. Tomlin agrees with it. He is the head coach. But every indication that I get is this is what Terrell Austin wants. This is an Austin design from front to back. And with him, it really is front to back because he believes so much in who he has up front, he doesn't feel it's necessary. even in situations, we've seen a couple of those this year, and I've called out more than one, where you go, man, if only you'd get back there, go after him, make him do something, don't just let him sit there and pick you apart. He won't stray from it. He won't stray. He feels that his guys, because he has TJ Watt, Cam Hayward, Keanu Benton, Larry Ogunjobi, Alex Highsmith, Nick Herbig, more, who can get to the backfield sufficiently, who can do that while stopping the run. And from there, he can spread his secondary guys out all over the grass. He can hide a Beanie Bishop until Bishop emerges. He can funnel plays toward Minkah Fitzpatrick, knowing that the quarterbacks don't want to throw there, thus making Minkah effective, even though he's not, in a lot of cases, getting anywhere near the football. He can really minimize splash. And again, to Austin, that starts with the big boys. Now, you also bring up Daniels, and that's different. If you want to think about the kind of challenge that Daniels presents, you have to think about, if you stayed up last night, what you were watching in Lamar Jackson and why the Steelers have always been so effective against Jackson. It's mostly because those edge rushers, the ones who are usually pursuing the quarterback with their ears pinned back and the flames coming out of their nostrils, don't really do that when they face Baltimore. They're coming, but they're not over pursuing. They're not running past Lamar. They're not falling for if Lamar is to just tuck the ball and go, or if he's to hand it off to, well, now it would be Derrick Henry, or for that matter, falling for screen passes, because they now have an answer for screens as well with the speed that's been added in Patrick Queen and Peyton Wilson. See, there I go talking about Baltimore again, and I should be talking about Washington. The Commanders have a lot of weapons. It's not just Daniels. They have a bunch of guys who can run the ball. They have Terry McLaurin to catch balls. But here, like facing Jackson, they're going to have to make sure, more than anything, that Daniels does not stray. Make sure that whatever's happening around Daniels just keeps getting smaller and tighter and less comfortable. For any coordinator, that's a great place to have a rookie quarterback. I appreciate the question. I appreciate everybody listening to Daily Shot of Steelers. And we're going to have another one of these Monday from Landover, Maryland. But in the interim, make sure you check out today's Double Shot. That's at 4 p.m. Eastern. Same place you found this.